minorities as large as they are, how do you expect to be able to get your agenda passed and do some of those things? And you hit on a point, Don, that I talk about a lot. When Republicans knock on doors and tell their constituents, elect me because I want to shrink government. That sounds great in the abstract. But then when they find out that 9 out of every $10 goes to education, healthcare, public safety, and transportation, the real question should be, which one of those do you want to shrink? And they don't want to shrink any of those. The constituents don't. And so what they do is they go to the Capitol and they asphyxiate government a little bit at a time by cutting revenues. And then they go back 3 years later and say, I'm sorry, I had to cut education 26%. And they say, well, why? I said, well, we didn't have enough money. And then the voters don't punish them for that, when in reality that was their ultimate goal the entire time. But your point, Don, is something that I have thought about a lot. My goal, should I be elected, is to run the Frank Keating playbook. I know that's weird in a Tulsa County Democrat dinner. But my goal is to run the Frank Keating playbook. When Frank Keating was governor for 8 years, he had a Democratic Speaker of the House and a Republican, and a Democratic pro tem in the Oklahoma State Senate. He had over 600 vetoes. Over 600 vetoes. You know how many of them were overridden? 0. You know why I know? Because he's proud of it. He tells it in every speech he ever gives. Right? Over 600 vetoes, not one of them was overridden, because he had at least 34 Republicans in the House of Representatives, and that's what I got to have. Right now I've got 26. That's the reason Karen Gaddis is so important, and so many of these other races. We've got to get to 34, and I fully anticipate if we can get to 34, my leadership as minority leader, this is something I've been very proud of. And I get a lot of attaboys and pats on the back because my caucus is so unified, but I promise you, it's the men and women of my team that allow me to do that. But we are the most unified caucus in the building. I mean, they've tried to assail us with saying that we're trying to break the state and trying to break the budget and all those kinds of things. And my caucus, on some of those tax increase votes, we stood strong, trying to force their hand to say, if you want us to vote for a regressive sales tax increase, by gosh, you're going to put a progressive increase on the ballot, on the vote for a floor, on the floor for a vote. I fully anticipate, as governor, essentially almost serving as minority leader in chief. Because at that point, you've got to get at least 34 Democrats in the House, and you work hand in hand with them. And when there's legislation that comes up that's bad public policy, you veto it, and those 34 Democrats stand up rock solid and sustain that veto. But you not only use it in that way, you use it like Frank Keating did. Remember, right to work, as much as this pains me, right to work got put on the ballot because of a Democratic legislature. Right? It did. But why? Because Frank Keating beat on him and beat on him and beat on him and beat on him enough until they finally gave in and said, we'll compromise, and instead of passing it ourselves, we'll put it on the ballot. They never should have done it. Right? Right to work has been an abject failure for working families in the state of Oklahoma. They never should have done it. But it was because of his ability to use the bully pulpit and then to veto their legislation until he achieved at least some of his policy proposals. That's how that happened. And I fully anticipate if we get 34 Democrats in the House, that not only can we play defense, just veto bad legislation, but I think we can start to play offense and start to restore some of these devastating cuts to things that we care about.